Welcome! 100 Day Unleashing My Superpowers. 40 women across the globe to inspire you with their stories of how they have broken the glass ceiling in a male-dominated work environment. Today, I would like to introduce you to a phenomenal woman in STEM, Raksha Naidoo, all the way from South Africa. Raksha is a phenomenal woman. She's currently a managing director for a company that produces standards. Raksha has got a pure and applied chemistry, talk about STEM, from the University of Natal in South Africa. She also has a business management program that she completed at Gibbs, which is in South Africa. Raksha is so passionate about women in STEM. She's passionate about women in mining, inspiring women to unleash their superpowers. Today, we witnessed an epiphany moment. The USA, the elections, Kamala Harris, who has broken, shattered the glass ceiling. Raksha is going to be sharing with you how she had her own epiphany moment. Talk about breaking the culture of the boys' club. You will be inspired by Raksha to unleash your superpowers. Enjoy watching the video. Thank you. You're the most powerful woman in your company. You're making decisions. You're leading people. What were the epiphany moments? How did you get to where you are?
3 epiphany moments were, so I was in the laboratory, like I said, for quite a long time, for about, I think it was about 5 odd years or so. And I loved it. I loved what I did. Yes. And at that point, the plant manager had come into the lab, and he was new. He'd been there for like, I think, a couple of weeks or whatever it is. And he came in and we were just chatting or whatever it is. And he looked at me and he says to me, "Aren't you bored?" And I remember looking at him thinking, "What?" And he's like, "Aren't you bored?" And I thought to myself, what is this guy talking about? Like, I'm a rock star in here. Like, I control this. Like, I know what I'm doing. And he's like, "Yes, but aren't you bored? Don't you think you need to change?" And I'm like, "Change what? Like, I'm so happy." And he's like, "No, I think you can do more." And I couldn't understand what he was talking about. I couldn't understand where he was coming from. And I mean, at that moment, I didn't realize it. But in hindsight, he's ended up being my greatest mentor, my greatest sponsor, my greatest everything. And he then forced my thinking. He forced me to change my mindset and my approach in terms of what I was doing and where I wanted to take myself. And he saw something in me that I just never saw in myself. And he gave me an opportunity to take me out of the laboratory and move me into production. And he created this very safe space for me to effectively try. And I then took on like some sort of a process control role. And I started learning and like trying to do more things in terms of encompassing my analytical process understanding with production related things. And I started working on production optimization, process optimization. And ultimately I became process manager of the plant and production manager. And that was a massive epiphany moment for me, because I realized that there was so much more out there. There was so much more I could do. I realized I was actually capable of doing so much more. And just having somebody that believed in me and gave me the space to try and fail and then learn from that and try again was just absolutely invaluable to me in everything that I've done. And I'm so endlessly grateful to him for that, because I'd never be where I am today. One of the reasons why I'm so passionate about women development is because I know how hard it was, but I know that I was fortunate to be given an opportunity. Not everybody is fortunate, but also I know that it's important when you do get that opportunity, what do you do with it? And how do you take it and how do you grow with it? And as women, I think we need to be opening more doors for other women. And I think that one of my gripes with the industry as well is that a lot of women say they want to do things, but they don't actually do it. And I think I've also experienced it from that perspective, in the sense that like I've had people that I've looked up to that I thought would be amazing mentors and role models as females, strong females in the industry. And they just let me down completely in terms of the type of people that they were. They were so competitive on that level, on that basis, and almost didn't want to see you succeed because it meant they wouldn't succeed. And that in itself is also something that I think we need to talk a lot about, because by not sharing all of that, we're not helping each other either. Absolutely. So there's good stories to share and bad stories to share.
Trying to break the glass ceiling, what should they be doing that they're currently not doing? And I think you've mentioned also that women not supporting each other It's a
Yep. I think also it's probably important to actually acknowledge that the glass ceiling doesn't exist. I think, a lot of people as well are sometimes a little ignorant to it or naive to it, perhaps. And I think that unfortunately, we're not in that world as yet where the glass ceiling is not there. I think it's there in a lot of spaces, but I think it's also, and we need to acknowledge that it's there for one, but we also need to acknowledge that there are a lot of other people out there who are also trying to help you break that ceiling. And I think if you are in that space where there are people that are trying to help you, you should work together and you should try to do it together, because there's strength in unity as well, and there's strength in the numbers. I think that there's a lot that a lot of that sort of collaboration, a lot of that, like talking and education and learning and understanding is so important in taking the right steps in order to create that change and to break through the ceiling. And it'll just make everybody stronger for it at the end of it.
Fantastic.
Be more honest as leaders. We need to be more honest as mentors, so that you can get the best out of your mentee, and then they can develop even better. Yes. So I think sometimes we're lucky if we have the mentor and sponsor as one person. I don't think everyone's going to be that fortunate, but I think there's definitely a need for sponsors and mentors in industry to help people and help women particularly get to those board level positions and achieve the success that they're capable of.
What are the top 3 barriers to career advancement for women in STEM based on your experience? I mean, you're a scientist.
So I think that sometimes a lot of the barriers as well is that we think that, like we touched on earlier, that because we are scientists, we become too boxed. And I think that just because you're a scientist doesn't mean you can't become a MD or a CEO or whatever it is. I think that you do need to focus on how you further develop yourself. And I think that continuous development is so important. And sometimes you also can't wait for somebody to create your development path. You've got to take it into your own hands and develop it for yourself. I think that it's important to always learn, always broaden your horizon, broaden your understanding, whether it's with formal or informal training or whatever it might be. Don't restrict yourself as a scientist. I think that there's so many other opportunities that you can expand your career into. And I mean, you can take yourself to the moon if you want to. You can take yourself into the boardroom. You can take yourself wherever the hell you want to. It's just up to you and what you want. And you need to figure out that, I think, before you can do anything else.
No, don't fix me, fix the environment.
It's about... For sure, yeah. Culture, yeah.
Comments about the culture of an organization, especially in male-dominated work environment. Is it the biggest barrier to career advancement for women to succeed in those environments?
I think it's definitely one of the biggest, without a shadow of a doubt. I think culture, I think a lot of people underestimate the power of culture. I think a lot of people don't pay enough attention to it and don't think it's actually a thing, but it is so fundamental in the organization. I know how much of time and effort I put into building culture. I know how much of time and effort I put into creating a culture. Like I said, we're almost like a family type culture, or like a happy space, because I think happy people are more productive in general. They're happier employees, they're happier individuals, they're happier humans. We're a happier business. And it breeds people before profit. And I think that, not to say it without any disrespect to the importance of profitability of any business, but like, if your people are happy, if your people are succeeding, if your people are growing and feeling wanted and respected, your profitability is going to grow by default. It's totally directly proportional. And I think that, we don't place enough emphasis on people and people's happiness within the workspace, because I think that is going to absolutely breed the success of any organization. And I know it might sound straightforward, but I think it's important to acknowledge people and acknowledge their role.
3 leadership strategies that women who are trying to break the glass ceiling, and these are women who are either in senior management and they are kind of like, I cannot break this glass ceiling, I'm failing. What is it that they need to do to break the glass ceiling, to get to MD, get to CEO, C-suite, board? What should they be doing? What are some of those strategies that you can give them to succeed in a male-dominated work environment?
So I think number one has to be that you've just got to work hard, and work harder than anybody, anywhere, anyhow. And I think that continuous hard work speaks volumes for itself. And I think that it allows you to just achieve so much more. I think that we need to also, we need to understand and acknowledge exactly what we want and where we're going. I think not necessarily everybody necessarily wants to be a CEO, but I think that if you know that that's what you want to be and that's where you want to go, you need to have a very clear, defined path of how you think you can achieve it. And then ask for the help, ask for the guidance, ask for the support. I think we need to speak up. We need to stand up for ourselves. We need to fight for what we believe in. And I think that you need to draw on power, on support, on your inner strength, and just try and fight as hard as you can to do that. And I know it's easy to say because a lot of people are in environments where they're not going to have the support. They're not going to have people who are going to be supporting them or mentoring them or assisting them or guiding them. And I think that sometimes we also need to be brave, and we need to find that voice, and we need to stand up and pick up a hammer and just shut it yourself. I mean, who the hell is stopping you? Just try hard. I think it's okay to fail because failure breeds a lot of learning, and failure breeds even more success. And I think we just should not be afraid of that. But keep working hard, stay true to who you are, and take the power of femininity that you have, and it's in you. You just probably don't realize it's there.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me the platform to be part of this project. I think what you're doing is so amazing, and I would love to be involved in it in some shape or form and continue to support you and your efforts. And let's take over the world, right?
Let's take over the world. Thank you so much. Thank you.